One day, the time will come for you to exit and sell your business. You've likely heard how important focusing on EBITDA is, but if you want to sell your business quickly and for maximum value, you need to know what EBITDA stands for. Now, I'm not talking about what you think, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. I'm talking about the other EBITDA acronym. Hi, I'm Trent Lee. I've sold over 600 businesses, and over the last 5 years in a row have been named the #1 business broker in the country. I make these videos so that you can learn and better prepare to sell your business and one day maybe hire me to work with you. Small businesses are valued on a multiple of discretionary earnings. Medium businesses are valued on a multiple of EBITDA. Understanding EBITDA is the first step to selling your business. E stands for earnings. You want to make sure that your earnings are consistently trending upward, or at least at a minimum staying steady. Whatever you do, don't let revenue start trending down before you take your business to market. If your business and the buyer plans to use an SBA loan, the SBA is going to look at historical revenue to make sure that they can justify the valuation and the asking price. If the revenue is trending down, the bank, the appraiser, and likely the buyer are going to not look at a 3 to 5 year average. They're rather going to look at a trailing 12-month. So whatever you do, before you go to market, don't let off the gas of keeping revenue steady, if not growing. Don't have it start trending down, because it provides a lower valuation to you when you're actually ready to sell the business. Let's talk about what B stands for. B stands for bottleneck. If you can't take off time without warning everyone in advance, you likely have a problem with B. You are a bottleneck on the business. It's key to make sure that you put the systems, the processes, the procedures, you train the personnel, the employees, so that they can operate without you being a bottleneck to the business. Just a couple of months ago, sold 2 very profitable indoor trampoline parks. Because he had such a business that he was not needed and he was not the bottleneck, that business sold for $5 million. He sold it for a higher market multiple, specifically because the business was built to be completely or pretty close to completely absentee. I in EBITDA stands for income statements. It's your job to clean up the financials. Stop mixing personal and business expenses, whatever you do, and don't take your foot off the gas and have income start declining. Earlier, I shared the story about the trampoline park that we sold for $5 million, but I also sold one of their competitors. They took a all expenses paid trip for their entire family to Disneyland. And do you know what they called it? They called it advertising. When we sold their business, we got them a 3.6 multiple of earnings. So that $20,000 write-off cost them $72,000 in valuation. So stop mixing personal expenses with business expenses. T stands for building a trench. You need to be unique. You need to be different. Somehow you need to build a trench or a moat around your product or your service or your business that makes you unique in the marketplace. So remember that trampoline park that we sold for $5 million? The reason it sold for a higher than normal market multiple and it sold so quickly is because they were unique. They had 2 locations, one on each side of town, and they had unique entertainment venues within the trampoline park. D stands for deal structure. Getting the prices right, and that's one thing, and that's important, and that's where we start. But getting the deal structure is just as important. Based on other transactions similar in size and nature to your business, do you need to structure an earnout? Do you need to consider some type of seller financing? Are you going to get all cash paid up front because the SBA is financing it and you need to get the deal pre-approved with the SBA? Be sure to work with an advisor, a business broker, an appraiser who can access the national database to look at how other deals similar in size and nature to your business are structured. When I sold the trampoline parks, the reason they sold so quickly and for the market multiple they sold for is because the deal structure was handled appropriately that benefited both the buyer and the seller, and we were able to push that market multiple up because it was such a good and creative deal structure. A stands for accurate valuation. This is equally as important as getting the deal structure right. You have to know exactly what your business cash flow is so that you can justify any add backs or adjustments. And then you have to know and be able to calculate the fair market value based on your industry and the individual characteristics of the business that you're selling. When I sold the trampoline parks, we were able to clearly identify the EBITDA, the profitability, the seller's discretionary earnings of that business based on a historical track record. And then we were able to research the data based on other trampoline parks, what they've sold for based on a multiple of earnings approach. We were able to come up with an accurate valuation. Coming up with an accurate valuation isn't based on what the seller wants to sell their business for. It's based on hard data. We simply take their earnings, their adjusted earnings, times the market multiple, and then we make adjustments based on the individual characteristics of the business and the deal structure. So this is how I use the new definition of EBITDA to justify a high valuation to sell the business as quickly as possible, as smoothly as possible, and to make the transaction work where both buyer and seller were completely happy with the details, the speed, the process, and the overall structure of the deal. So if you're ready to see how much your business is worth and how quickly we can sell it, click on the link below and let's set up a time to talk.